Right, quick update on JASMY. So if we come down to the lower time frames to start with, you can see we're having a slight bounce right now from this region that I was talking about. Now, if you haven't watched my last videos, I've been talking about how I think JASMY is going to come down to between 2.5 and 2.3 cents specifically. Now, I still do think it is likely we're going to come down to 2.3. We've already tagged my first target at 2.5. We are having a slight bounce now, and on the lower time frames you can see bearish momentum is starting to subside, but we still haven't even come into contact with the short-term moving average on these EMA ribbons. So while we are still in this bearish downtrend, while we haven't back tested our macro support down here between 2.3 cent and we've already come down to 2.5 cent, but I'm still assuming that 2.3 cent is on the table. If we look at what's going on the 4 hourly, we could see a bounce to 2.7 cent. We could even see a bounce up to as high as 2.9 to 3 cent in my opinion before we do come back down to this 2.3 cent target. Now I could be wrong, we've already filled my first target, so I'm still looking for 2.3. I really want to enter a trade on JASMY, but I want to play from a position of strength, and I really don't think that we can be too sure that this macro downtrend is completely done for until we come back down, back test these previous local highs. We've got a 2.3 cent. That's really what I'm looking for. And while that is what's going on in the lower time frames, you can see we could potentially be setting up for a quick bounce before we do come down to sweep the lows. If we look at what's going on the daily, slightly more higher time frame, the squeeze more momentum indicator is starting to pick up to the downside again. So I don't think we're out the clear. While we could have a small bounce, like I said, potentially back up to the 3 cent level, just to confirm that this is resistance. I still do assume that 2.3 cent is on the table. I think 2.3 cent is coming. Once again, I could be wrong, but I've been talking about this 2.5 cent. This has been tagged. I'm still waiting for 2.3 cent to get tagged. So the thing is, as well, with 2.3 cent is we kind of want to hold this, because if we don't hold 2.3, we really only have our 786 Fibonacci, which is down here at 2 cents. So all in all, the macro market structure from this slight impulse, well, I'm really talking about the midterm, since we've bottomed down here. So what's going on in the midterm? We're still above this 786, so while we're above 2 cent, the market structure is still bullish, but it could get a little bit slippery if we do break below the 2.3 cent, because once we break below 2.3, 2 cent needs to be the absolute bottom. In my opinion, we really can't push too much further below this 786, and I'm saying 2 cent, but it's 0.0191, basically 2 cents. So if you see it round about the 9.1 region before a big reversal, so be it, that's fine. I'm really talking about this 786 we've got from low to high. So 2 cent or 191, this region really needs to hold. We need to have a strong impulse if we come down there, and nonetheless, even if we have a reversal now, I mean I still do think JASMY has bottomed in the macro term down here, so we really don't need to come down to 2.3 cent. I said we're at least coming down to 2.5. We've already done that. My gut feeling is still telling me we have a move down to 2.3 cent, and I think Bitcoin is starting to look a tiny bit nicer than when I've been making these predictions in the past few days, but we're really not out of the blue and out of the clear, or whatever you want to say, until Bitcoin takes out 44,000. If Bitcoin doesn't take out 44,000, the daily EMA ribbons are going to start to converge to the downside, and we are going to start picking up bearish momentum on the squeeze one, which we already have started to do today. So I'm still being a bit careful. I'm really looking for a sign that Bitcoin has bottomed before I do make a trade on JASMY. So I'm sitting on the sidelines for JASMY. On both the 4 hourly and the daily for Bitcoin, you can really see between 44,000 and 44,100 is the region we need to break. Nonetheless, if you're watching this in like 3 or 4 hours after it's uploaded, then this 44,100 would have probably come down to 44. So I'm really talking about 44. Bitcoin has a potential on the 4 hour to switch back bullish. which is why I've been saying my gut feeling is that we are going to have a quick fake out potentially to as low as 40,000, but I would not be shorting Bitcoin with a risk to reward ratio of a breakdown of 7%. Like, I don't think we have enough confluence down here at 40,000 to, you know, concretely believe that we are moving down here. Nonetheless, lower time frames are pointing that momentum is moving to the downside, and if we do reset these squeeze mom on the daily or on the 4-hourly, sorry, this could definitely carry down a little bit more on the daily, because we've already switched bearish on the daily. We've got a big, you know, momentum shift going on right now. So I need to see us break above the EMA ribbons for Bitcoin. Until Bitcoin breaks solidly above 44,000, I have to assume that at least 2.3 cent is on the table for JASMY. And like I said, 2.3 cent kind of needs to hold, kind of not really though, because 2 cent is really your last line in the sand. If we break 2 cent, then unfortunately I would have to be, you know, looking at JASMY from a bearish stance. There's no other way to chop it really. If we break below this 2 cent, you know, I imagine we'd have lots of momentum to the downside, and not only that, this entire dead cat bounce move, you know, would be invalidated. But I do think the 786 is going to hold. I pointed this out in my last video. If we look at the last time JASMY had a big local bottom before doing a crazy move, you can see we perfectly backtested the 786 Fibonacci. So I'm expecting something similar to play out, which is why I'm saying, you know, your 786 is down here at 2 cent. That's why my gut feeling is really that we're going to have a move down to at least 2.3 cent. And once again, I could be wrong. Like, I did say we'd be bottoming in this green box. We've already come down to the green box. So, you know, either way, my kind of macro feeling on this was right. But my major feeling is that we still have a move down to 2.3. So that is just all I'm looking at JASMY right now. If I'm wrong, once again, Bitcoin needs to take out 44,000. Once Bitcoin starts pushing above 44,000, then, you know, the momentum indicators will start to calm down, because we'll be above all of these EMA ribbons. So what needs to happen for JASMY is really what needs to happen for Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to take out 44,000. Once that happens, I'll be a lot more bullish to potentially kind of enter this trade from where we are now, because like I said, we've already bounced on the 618. I told you I want to play from the 2.3 cent from a position of strength. Nonetheless, we'll see what's going on in the next few days. So that is all I've got for JASMY. Once again, keep an eye on Bitcoin, keep an eye on 44,000. We're really not out of the the kind of trap that we're in right now until we get above 44,000 for Bitcoin. So that is all I see for JASMY and Bitcoin. Once again, none of this is financial advice. Best of luck if you're in JASMY, and yeah, cowboy out. Peace.